Let's take a look at 11 games to begin Week 2, Monday's preview. There's a lot happening. Michael Bolton, are you there?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I'm really sore in my neck, my back. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. This is the preview show for Monday, and I talked about this yesterday as well. Also, just quickly, yesterday in the bonus Saturday recap show, there was weird microphone things going on. I got no idea why. It wasn't a cable issue. It wasn't a microphone issue. For some reason, the software just decided, yeah, we're going to put crackles in. So I did some research to try and figure out what on earth was going on, and all I had to do was change the source of the microphone to one thing and then change it back to the correct thing. And the crackle is allegedly gone after testing it about 10 times last night and another 3 or 4 times this morning. It seems like it's gone. Now, I hope that it does not just randomly return out of nowhere, or if something else is off through to whatever decided to update or change. But that is what happened. So the crackling is annoying. I get it. And I don't know why it happened. It just happened. And I couldn't actually tell as I was doing it. So hopefully everything is good. We're doing the daily look ahead. And I did talk, this is what I talked about yesterday as well at some point. I said that these shows, they don't get as many people watching as they do the recaps, but they take a bloody long time to do. So I'm trying to figure out ways to make the product better. Better so that people watch, and better so that it doesn't take as much of my time, where it's not that I have a problem giving the time. It's more that I'm giving the time, but it's not giving the results. So I'm trying to just change things so you'll notice this show looking somewhat different to how other ones have so far. We will start where I do like to start, though, is just by having a bit of a look at the bit of a pulse of the day. What are the 3 major things we're taking away or wanting to take away out of the action on Monday? There's obviously a lot more than this, but I think there are 3 big things to look at. There's no Luka, and there's no LeBron for the Lakers. Luka is out at least a week. LeBron is out for I don't know how long. So we know that Austin Reeves is going to cook, but who else? Like a Smart? The Mpitsu? Hope Yuri. Is that I looked up, you told me my pronunciation of Mpitsu was incorrect, so hopefully that is correct. That is the Japanese Harrison Barnes, Rui Hachimura. Jake LaRavia. Does DeAndre Ayton do more? Lol. I don't know. But that's going to be very messy. What about 2 of these big rookie performers? One of them, the chicken, Cedric Coward, and then the Blizzard, Derik Queen. Is Queen going to start? He played 30 plus minutes last game. What about Coward, who is on a generational start to a career in terms of shooting? And I know people get upset at this. It is not going to hold. He is going to get worse. All right, but just tell us this. Yeah, if you want to add Cedric Coward, by all means. There is a million things happening with what he is doing, which is no chance of sticking. No matter how good of a shooter he was at college, and he was, what we need for Cedric Coward to be a strong rest of season 12-team league guy, if you want to add him, it is absolutely no problem. There are plenty of guys to drop. Pajemski, see you later. Bye-bye. Jalen Wells. On your bike. Santi Aldama, get out of here. Drop him. No problem. But does he go from 22 minutes to 28 minutes? And then what else comes along with it? So we want to see that from those 2 rookies in particular. And then, is Cooper Flagg still Dallas's point guard? Does D'Angelo Russell get revived? Do we see Ryan Nembhard? Do we see bloody Brandon Williams? Because they've obviously got a pretty big problem, and that is going to be a key thing for us to watch. So this is how I do want to do this now. Just go through again what is actually happening on Monday. What is the schedule on Monday? These are the 11 games that we've got on. You can go back and reference this later on. This, of course, will change. And part of the problem with doing these shows is things change every 30 minutes. Is that stuff that I can do and spend a lot of time doing, it gets outdated. Right. So you can see all the games there. Magic Sixers, Cavs Pistons, Celtics Pelicans, Raptors and Spurs, Hawks and Bulls. Nets and Rockets, Thunder, Mavs, Suns and Jazz, Nuggets, Wolves, Grizzlies, Warriors, Trailblazers, and Lakers. So let's go in and have a look at just the current injury statuses in each of the games. We're not going to harp on this for too long. We're going to focus more on streaming stuff and ways to benefit you with the schedule in this sort of a show. So let's take a look at some injuries across these games and the statuses we need to look at. A lot of these injuries won't matter to you. I've got Joel Embiid listed as questionable in this one because it is the first of a back-to-back for Philadelphia. And I think Embiid plays in this one because they play the Wizards on Tuesday. So watch that one. I don't think Paul George is going to be available. Dominic Barlow left the last game with an elbow issue. I think he'll be okay. And Jalen Suggs missed the last game due to a back-to-back, but he will return for Orlando. So I think we're good to go with that one. The second game, in terms of injury updates across this one, Darius Garland is going to be out for Cleveland, Karis LeVert and Marcus Sasser. Now, the Pistons are playing today on Sunday, so I just assume that those guys are going to be out, but I don't know that for sure. This is, again, the problems with the NBA is so fast-moving. There's always something happening, right? And DeAndre Hunter, question. When if Hunter is out, you've seen Jalen Tyson starting, but it hasn't really meant much in terms of any value in fantasy streaming. The next game that we have a look at here is the Celtics and Pelicans. The Celtics also on a back-to-back. Kevon Looney is going to be out for the Pelicans. And then this is where the big question mark, tying in back to the Derik Queen stuff, is Carlo Makovic, Yves Missi, are they going to play? What about recently signed DeAndre Jordan? I think he'll be available, but that could mean that Makovic, Missi, and Jordan are all available, and then Queen plays 20 minutes. Or do they just say, well, let's just do it now. Queen plays 30 a night. That is, again, one of the things that we do really want to be paying attention to. But there are 3 centers there. One of them's already out. All of those are Pelican centers on that list, by the way. All of them are out or on the injury report. Now, for the Celtics, they're playing on Sunday. Don't be surprised if you see Jaylen Brown not out there due to his hamstring injury maintenance. So I don't know that, but just be aware of it. The next game, we're talking about the Raptors and the Spurs. The Spurs also just wrapped up playing on Sunday, and there were some interesting things that we'll talk about in the recap. So Luke Cornett was out on the weekend. I expect that he probably doesn't play here too. Fox will be out, Olynyk will be out, Sohan will be out, Hall Pass legend Lindy Waters will be out, and then Colin Murray-Boyles is dealing with an injury. We haven't seen him play yet. I'll put him as questionable, but he's not going to impact majority of fantasy leagues. The next game that we're looking at here on the schedule, Hawks, Bulls. And there was an addition to this. Josh Giddey has been added onto the Bulls injury report with a questionable tag. He didn't play the final 4 minutes of their game the other day on Saturday, so be aware of that. Now, if he is out, you are smashing Trey Jones, but you are also then elevating Kevin Huerter, and you're elevating Ayo Dosunmu a lot. Like, I already think that Jones is a must roster and Huerter's not far off, but Dosunmu is going to jump into that. For the Hawks, I do expect that Porzingis will be available after missing the last 2 due to illness, but I don't know that. And then Jalen Johnson missed the last game with an ankle, and Zachary Ricochet has missed the last 2 with an ankle. And we know that if one of those 3 guys are out, it is definitely time for a Golden Gay time. Mohamed Wayayugeh is probably going to step up, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So 2 absolutely elite options if we get at least one of those guys out, and if 2 or 3 of them are out, then yeah, it's time to cook. The next one, just a quick little look at the next game. It is the Nets and the Rockets. The Nets are playing this one on a back-to-back. They just finished their game up against the San Antonio Spurs. And that brings me to one of the key streamers of the day, and that is Steven Adams, who I think will start. He's only 12% rostered. His minutes are elevated. If he's a 26-minute-a-night player, he's got some back-end value for category leagues specifically. Now, not for everybody. It's not going to work on for every team or anything like that, because he's got a very specific skill set in terms of fantasy. Like, he's going to get rebounds, an occasional block and field goal percentage, but he's not for everybody. But it is an easy matchup. We know centers absolutely cook the Nets, but they could also take this in as a chance to just give Adams a bit of a rest, play Capella a little bit more. And so I like Adams as a stream guy, but I don't know that I'm fully committed to him long-term for the season. Dorian Finney-Smith will remain out in a revenge game against Houston. Drake Powell is out. Now, I don't think Zaire Williams will play. He left Sunday's game early, so I've listed him out. And Danny Wolf was out on Sunday too, and I don't think that he will be available. The next game, Just a quick run through here. We're going to focus more on schedule and streaming stuff after this. Thunder and Mavs. Daniel Gafford, I don't expect to be playing. Brandon Williams is listed out. Jalen Williams won't be there. I don't think Alex Caruso will be available with his concussion. And Isaiah Joe is questionable. So he could be someone that does have an impact on somebody like old mate AJ Mitchell. But at the moment, Mitchell does have a pretty strong runway. Now, when Caruso and Williams are back, Jalen Williams, it's going to be a little bit harder for Mitchell to do the things that he is currently doing. But I think you're all well aware of that. The next one, we are looking at the Suns and the Jazz. Collier should remain out, Jalen Green should remain out, and George Niang should remain out. I expect that Mark Williams, after sitting the back-to-back, is returning here. Now, into what role? I honestly couldn't tell you. Absolutely no idea what role they'll play Mark Williams in, and that's frustrating. But Iguodala, Malawach, and BDNR, absolutely useless from most league perspectives. The next game, which is the 9th of the day, it is a busy 11-game day. It's Nuggets Timberwolves, very clean injury report. The only guy on there is Rob Dillingham, and he doesn't play anyway, so it doesn't matter. The second last game of the day, the 10th, we're talking about the Grizzlies and the Warriors. Horford is going to sit this one. It's the first of a back-to-back. He'll be available to play the game on Tuesday. Melton will remain out. Vince Williams will remain out. Now, as you'll notice, those long-term injuries I'm not including here. Scottie Pippen, Ty Jerome, Zach Edey, they're still all out. So we're not talking about them. Alex Tui is also listed questionable for the Warriors. And then the final game of the day for Monday, the 11th game of the day, it's Blazers-Lakers. Like I said, Dončić is out, LeBron is out, Jackson Hayes is out, Maxi Kleber is out, Adu Thero is out. And then for the Blazers, I'm expecting that Rob Williams remains on the sideline. We'll come back and we'll talk about manipulating the schedule and then go in depth into some streaming options. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Most of us can't name all of our financial accounts. We don't know how much we're worth, where our investments are. It's easy to lose track, and that means you can be leaving money on the table. Because if you don't know your financial position, how do you make more money? That's why when you start using Monarch, it can put all that stuff together. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. It helps you organize your accounts, put them all in one spot, look at your investments, easy to do. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. Monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. With the NBA season officially here, nothing beats being there live to watch your favorite team and your favorite players in action. But the process of getting tickets has historically been a pain. Surprise fees, surges in pricing, queues to get tickets. Game Time makes this easier. It's an app that gives you the advantage, the ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. Their zone deals are a game changer. You pick the section that you want to sit, and Game Time goes about, finds the best value tickets for you, and you can even find NBA tickets for as low as $25. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. All right, so I'm sure that most of you will not like the way that I changed the format of this, but to me, it enables me to be able to do more stuff. It creates an easier workflow, and I just think, at the moment, I think it's better, but I'm always going to be reviewing and assessing and just checking to see how we can make things better. Let's take a look at some of the plays across the schedule and the ways that we can or give ourselves a benefit in terms of how the scheduling looks. We will look at the incoming back-to-back. So this is, look how many, it's 10 teams. 10 teams that play Sunday and Monday. That's a lot. There's 20 games across those 2 days, and half of the teams are back-to-backs. Good job, NBA. Really good way to make the quality of basketball awesome. Nets, Celtics, Cavs, Mavs, Pistons, Lakers, Wolves, Blazers, Spurs, Raptors. All play an incoming back-to-back. An outgoing back-to-back means who goes Monday, Tuesday. And thankfully, not as many. Warriors, we already talked about Al Horford sitting on the Monday. Thunder, don't think they'll sit anybody, but you never know with Chet Holmgren. Watch that one. And then the Sixers, I expect Embiid plays on Monday and then sits on Tuesday. So if you wanted to whip your boner out, maybe that would be the time. Although, the big avocado, Andre Drummond, was the guy that stepped in over him the last time they played. But with fewer games on Tuesday, remember there are 11 on Monday, with fewer games on Tuesday, you could probably use Drummond and Boner and get a little bit of satisfaction. The next thing to look at with the scheduling. Oh, we're done with the schedules. My bad. We're talking streams. I should have hit the little stream button. Let's just do it now. Because the reason I don't have any other... Normally I have other stuff like chunks, but no one has 3 games in 5 nights or 3 playable games because of an 11-game Monday. We've already done the 5s and 2s in the weekly preview show. And there's no way to get a 2-for-1 on Monday. So that's why I didn't include those things. Idiot. Let's talk streams of the day now. We've already looked at a lot of this stuff. Oh, no, that's not true. I've looked at Steven Adams. I'm lying to you here. Steven Adams is your, I think, 10-team category stream of the day. The risk is that he gets a night off against Brooklyn. The risk is he plays 16 minutes against Brooklyn and they go with Clint Capella just to ease off of him. But at the moment, he's doing enough to be at least stream level. For 12-team category leagues, I'm going with Royce O'Neal, someone who was just widely available. Now, I don't know what Phoenix is doing. They look terrible. I don't know why you're prioritizing 29 minutes of Royce O'Neal, but they are. So even though we can look at it and go, look, surely at some point it doesn't stay like this, it is happening right now. So I'm not having any long-term appeal or thoughts on Royce O'Neal. I've never had long-term thoughts on Royce O'Neal, but I don't have any of those now. So I don't think there's anything to look at, and this could bust at any point. But it is something that they are currently doing, which means that we need to currently pay attention to it. The Pistons look rattled at the moment. It's not a good scenario. We thought there'd be concerns losing Hardaway and Beasley. Duncan Robinson's doing his best to try and help that, but he's not as good as those guys. Is he as good as Hardaway? Maybe, I don't know. LeVert is out, that's hurting. Ivy is out, not that he's a good shooter necessarily, but Robinson's getting a role. And in 14-team leaguers, we do like that. And then, for deeper leagues, Kevin Huerter. Now, there's a chance Kevin Huerter just ends up being better than everybody on this day because, he's available everywhere. Fan of pants. Everywhere. But Giddey might be out. White is going to be out. He might play 32 minutes. He's been really good. And I don't normally think Kevin Huerter is a good fantasy player. But he's been really good. And then we talk about our Yahoo points and ESPN points best streamer of the day, and it's this man who just keeps popping up because he's only 23% rostered Grayson Allen. I've got him projected at 34 minutes with 32 fantasy points. Yes, Jalen Green being out is clearly helping him. But Jalen Green's out. Now when Jalen Green returns, we'll hold on to Allen and we'll see what happens. But Allen was someone that every time I did a draft and a mock draft, I'd get to the last rounds and his name would be at the top of my projection queue. And I'd go, really? Really, Grayson Allen? But yeah, maybe yes, really Grayson Allen, because they're bad. The team's not good. There's no Durant. There's no Beal. Allen is someone who's at least competent, and he's just not rostered anywhere. So yeah, I do think that you can consider Grayson Allen, that maybe it's not a long-term thing, but maybe it's something that lasts a little bit longer than we expected. I don't know. We'll come back and dig more into streaming for those leagues. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by FanDuel. And with the NBA back, there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So with FanDuel and the NBA, you might miss the start of the game. That would mean you came in 30 minutes after the scheduled start time, but that's okay. You've missed the start of the game, but you can jump onto FanDuel and you can do live betting, halftime betting. At any point, go, oh, okay, what's going on here? I think this team's going to make a comeback. I think this team's going to pull away. We can do live in-game, same-game parlays as well. Plus, you can just do your regular stuff. But the most important thing is if you are a new customer, you just go and place a $5 bet. You win the $5 bet, and then you get $300 in bonus bets, which then you can use on the live betting and the same-game parlays and all that sort of stuff. So, FanDuel is giving those new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. So let's dig into this streaming just a little bit more. We'll go to 10-team category leagues. Again, a reminder, I think you know how this works by now, is that no matter what your league size is, just start at the start of this list and have a look who's there and whether they're available for you. And as always, make it make sense on your squad. So for 10-teamers, we're going Steve Adams. I got Royce O'Neal there. Duncan Robinson, Lonzo Ball, especially when you're looking for assists and steals, and then Kelly Oubre, who has been up and down, but one thing we love is a solid role. And yeah, he's playing like big minutes. And that, at least it gives you the opportunity for something to happen. If you're streaming somebody in, the last thing you want to do is stream someone in who played big minutes the game before due to injuries, blowouts, weird rotations, whatever, and then they play 2 minutes. If someone gets 33 minutes and they're getting it every night, yeah, they might have 4-1-1, Tony Snell style, or the fact that they're out there might mean you slip into an 11-5-5 with 2 steals game. And that's sort of where we are with Oubre, and a little bit, honestly, with what Royce O'Neal is doing. It's not great, but at least he is there. At least there is the upside of him being available. For 12-teamers, Kevin Huerter. If Giddy's out, he moves way above those other guys on 10s, way above. Colin Gillespie was disappointing last game. I thought they would play him more. I just want to watch that. I'm still leaning into him a little bit, but we'll watch it. Bubble Champagne in San Antonio. In Memphis, Jock Landale, who is not giving great numbers, but he's giving serviceable numbers. Again, with the reliability. He's going to get you 9 and 6 with a block. Maybe. Is he ever going to give you 30 and 20? Yeah, in his dreams. Like maybe for a month. But there's a reliability. Nobody is starting over him. Unless he gets foul trouble, he's just going to be there. And then I've got Jake LaRavia. Because no Luka, no LeBron. Now maybe it's not LaRavia. Maybe it is the Empatsu. Maybe it is Marcus Smart. Maybe it is Gabe Vincent or Jared Vanderbilt Bar, who maybe doesn't play. It's a back-to-back. I don't know. But LaRavia's got that well-roundedness to his game that is more interesting to me. Category leagues, but make it deeper. Yusuf Nurkic is like a 16-17 minute a night player, but available everywhere. 7 and 4, a block, a 3, 2 assists. Deeper leagues, that's important. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, you could even push him higher, to be honest. He's been pretty good. I don't like it as a long-term ad, but he is here. Moses Moody, who I don't know what they do. Last game, when Horford was out, they started Quinton Post. Do they go back to Moody with Draymond Green? At center, does Pajemski move back starting? I don't know, but Moody's got a role. Jeremiah Fears is playing way more than I thought he would. He's going to have one of those crash-out nights where he shoots 2 of 13, but the minutes and the role is there. And then Larry Nance Jr. in Cleveland is getting pretty solid minutes as a backup big man, which again, reliability is really good. So now we can look at some stream options for Yahoo points leagues. We've spoken about Grayson Allen already and the value that I think he can have. Trey Jones is still going to be going in Chicago. Paul Washington Jr. is under-rostered. I just think Washington should be rostered basically in all leagues at this point. Kyle Filipowski, we're getting a little bit deeper there. And then Dylan Brooks, who also, amazingly, probably should be rostered in all leagues. Now I am, because I've changed some of the structure of the show. I'm going to give you a list of 5 ESPN points league streamers. PJ won't be on it because he is highly rostered on ESPN because of their pre-draft rankings, but a lot of the other names are the same. We've got Grayson Allen and Trey Jones, Dylan Brooks, Kyle Filipowski, and then, given the format of ESPN point scoring, Royce O'Neal jumps in as the 5th name on that list. And that is a daily look ahead for Monday with 11 games on. Give me your feedback. Again, I know that when things change, it's going to be different. I'm just trying to make things better for me, better for you, easier in general. And hopefully we get more people in watching these types of shows. Hit subscribe, thumb it up, hype it. Guys, we are done here. I'll see you later on today with a recap of Sunday. And then tomorrow we'll have a waiver wire show heading into another Tuesday preview show. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.